मम मन मंदिरे रहनिषि मम मन मंदिरे रहनिषि कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम श्री कृष्ण मुरारी मम मन मंदिरे रहो निषेधे कृष्ण मुरारी हे कृष्ण मुरारी हे कृष्ण भक्ति प्रीति माला चंदा भक्ति भक्ति प्रीति माला चंदन मिलियो है लियो चित्तानंदन तो मिलियो है लियो चित्तानंदन देवान मारण तव पूजा निवेदा देवान मरण तव पूजा निवेदा सुंदर है मनहारे सुंदर है मनहारे नाम मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारे कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी यशोनंद कुमार नंद कुमार यशोनंद कुमार नंद कुमार हवे प्रेम प्रदीपे आरती तो हवे प्रेम प्रदीपे आरती तो नया नया मोना हरे अनिवार नया नया मोना हरे अनिवार तुम्हारा विरह गिरधारे तुम्हारा विरह गिरधारे नयन यमुना धरे अनिवार नयन यमुना धरे अनिवार तुम्हारा विरह गिरिधारे तुम्हारा विरह गिरिधारे वंदन गाने तव भजो गिरिवार कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी कृष्ण मुरारी वंदन गाने तव भजो गिरिवार कृष्ण मुरारी श्री कृष्ण मुरारी वंदन गाने तव कृष्ण मुरारे कृष्ण मुरारे श्री कृष्ण मुरारे कृष्ण मुरारे श्री कृष्ण मुरारे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा सुभाष जय सुदर्शना जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद श्रील प्रभुपाद की ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। So, welcome all of you to today's Bhagavatam class. And today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 15, Pandavas Retired Timely, verse number 5. Arjuna Vacha Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me pahritam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Arjuna Uvacha Vanchito Maharaja Harina me pahritam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat.
Arjuna Vacha Chitoham Maharaja
Vanchito Maharaja
Tam Tejo
Yena me pahritam tejo
Apan Mahat
Vismapanam Mahat. Arjuna Uvacha Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Rupina Yena me pahritam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Vaishnavis. Arjuna Vacha Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me pahritam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Arjuna Vacha Vanchitoham Maharaja Namarupina Yena me partam tejo Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Arjuna Vacha Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Deva Vismapanam Mahat. Synonym translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Śrīla Prabhupāda. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Vanchitaha, left by him, Aham, myself, Maharaja, O king, Harina, by the personality of Godhead, Bandhu Rupina, as if an intimate friend, Yena, by whom, me, my, Apahratam, of course it's may, my, Apahratam, I have been bereft, Tejaha, power, Deva, the demigods, Vismapanam, astonishing, Mahat, astounding. Arjuna said, O king, the supreme person of Godhead, Hari, who treated me exactly like an intimate friend, has left me alone. Thus, my astounding power, which astonished even the demigods, is no longer with me. In Bhagavad Gita 10:41, the Lord says, anyone specifically powerful and opulent in wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, and all that is materially desirable is to be considered but a product of an insignificant portion of the complete whole of my energy. No one, therefore, can be independently powerful in any measure without being endowed by the Lord. When the Lord descends to the earth along with his eternal, ever liberated associates, he not only displays the divine energy possessed by himself, but also empowers his associate devotees with the required energy to execute his mission of incarnation. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita that the Lord and his eternal associates descend to the earth many times, and that the Lord remembers all the different roles of incarnations, whereas the associates, by his supreme will, forget them. Similarly, the Lord takes away with him all his associates when he disappears from the earth. The power and the energy which were bestowed upon Arjuna were required for the fulfillment of the mission of the Lord. But when his mission was fulfilled, the emergency powers were withdrawn from Arjuna because the astounding powers of Arjuna, which were astonishing even to the denizens of heaven, were no longer required, and they were not meant for going back home back to Godhead. If endowment of powers and withdrawal of powers by the Lord are possible even for such a great devotee like Arjuna, or even the demigods in heaven, then what to speak of the ordinary living beings who are but figs compared to such great souls? The lesson is therefore that no one should be puffed up for his powers borrowed from the Lord. The sane man should rather feel obliged to the Lord for such benefactions and must utilize such power for the service of the Lord. Such power can be withdrawn at any time by the Lord. So the best use of such power and opulence is to engage them in the service of the Lord. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सह गणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, welcome all of you to today's morning Bhagavatam class from Canto 115, chapter verse number 5. So, before I start, I would like to seek the blessings and prayers of all the Vaishnavas present here so that I can do some service to all of you in glorification of the Lord and purification of my heart. Also, today is Makara Sankranti in some parts of South India. Some parts it was yesterday. So, nevertheless, we get 2 days of Makara Sankranti, and for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Makara Sankranti is also the day when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, and also the departure of Bhishma Dev. So, it's glorious that we are celebrating 2 days of such occasion. So, here we are seeing that Arjuna is speaking to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So, the context is as Arjuna returns from Dwarka after having learnt that Krishna has departed for the spiritual world, he is dumbstruck and hence he is not able to get words to describe the painful situation. And when he comes in such a way in front of and presents himself in front of Yudhishthir Maharaj, that time Yudhishthir, seeing that Arjuna is in such a pathetic situation, he starts, trying to ask questions to somehow get answer of what had happened at Dwarka. And after asking all the questions, Arjuna breaks down and he says that Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina. Vanchitoham means we have been bereft. We have been, I mean, the Supreme Lord has left us. Vanchitoham. Harina means the Supreme Lord, Bandhurupina, who was the intimate friend. So here we see that Arjuna's mood of remembrance of Krishna is the sweet relationship that he had. And he also goes on to say after these verses, after this verse, a couple of verses where he glorifies Krishna. So here we see that he says that Krishna has left us and all my powers are lost. So it may appear as if Arjuna was more focused on power. Correct, no? Because powers are lost, then it matters that Krishna is lost. If powers were not lost, only Krishna was lost, maybe he would not have minded so much. But actually, it is not so. So why does Arjuna say, Yename apartam tejo deva vismapanam mahat? That teja, that prowess, which was even bewildering and amazing and astonishing to the demigods, that I've lost. Why does he say that? Why does he make that point? To glorify Krishna. So he says that that Supreme Lord who was the cause of my prowess has left us. And in the forthcoming verses, he describes that because of him was I able to win in this battle of Kurukshetra. Because of him, I was able to win the hand of Draupadi. Because of him, I was able to destroy the sons of Dhritarashtra, and because of him, I was able to destroy certain demons. I was able to defeat the demigods. I was able to be saved from Jayadratha. I was able to attain so much victory. Just like Sanjay says, the last verse of Bhagavad Gita 1872, that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanuddaraha Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhute Dhruva Nitirmatin Mama. So there Sanjay says that anyone who is with Krishna and Arjuna through remembrance, through smaranam, for such a person, he's endowed with all this opulence. Correct? But sometimes may feel that by remembering Krishna, we are getting material opulence. Correct, no? Because here also Arjuna is talking about prowess, power, material power. And then also the description in the upcoming verse also he says about how Krishna helped him achieve things in this world, defeat the demigods, destroy the demons, win the battle, get the Rajya of the entire world. So is the material prowess, material victory the result or the greatest fruit of bhakti? No. So the whole point here is Arjuna is saying this not to say that by associating with Krishna, by having a friendship with Krishna, by serving Krishna, I got material prowess. No, but he is glorifying Krishna, saying that because of his association, I was victorious in all my endeavors in life. So we also have so many endeavors, so many challenges, so many struggles where we don't know what will happen tomorrow. Was in such cases when we have faith in Krishna, then we know for sure whatever happens, it happens, or whatever happens is the best. Correct? So that faith a devotee should have. And here Arjuna also, after he says how Krishna made him victorious in various struggles in life, he then goes on to remember the sweetness of Krishna. And then he says, so then he continues to remember the sweetness of Krishna, those very smiles, the laughter, the joking words. Imagine the supreme person of Godhead whose incarnation is Kshira Udakashai Vishnu. Even Kshira Udakashai Vishnu is not so easily available to Brahma, the creator of this universe. Correct? When they have to go, they recite the Purusha Sukta. Then Lord appears in the heart of Brahma, not as Sakshat Darshan, but as Vani. And then he speaks to them certain instructions and then leaves. That's all. So what darshan is not available even to Brahma, Shiva, and all the demigods is easily available to the Pandavas, and especially Arjuna, as he recounts how when Krishna was on this planet, they would sleep together, they would eat together, they would laugh together. Arjuna would put his hand on Krishna. In that way, he would spend so much, joyful time with Krishna. So this kind of remembrance or smaranam is very, very, very important in the life of a devotee, because it is this smaranam which enhances the quality of our chanting. Why we're not able to chant? Yes, because we didn't get enough sleep, we didn't get enough prasad, etc., etc. But the root cause of all this is that we're not able to chant because we're not able to remember Krishna fondly. Like today morning, Dinesh Prabhu was saying, why Krishna did not tell Sudama that he is the one who gave the opulence to Sudama. Why? Yes, Mataji. Okay. Yeah, that is also a reason. But there's one more deeper, intimate reason. Jai. Yes. Haribo. So the reason is, of course, what Mataji said is also correct. But the more deeper reason is that Krishna did not consider his gifting of the entire opulence, palatial opulence to Sudama, a very big thing. Krishna valued the chipped rice that Sudama got from the neighborhood houses by begging through Madhukari. That was more valuable than all the jewels and palatial opulence that Krishna could give him. And he was kind of embarrassed. For Krishna, he said he thought that Sudama had to go. He put aside his ego and begged from houses and got me something. But I'm giving only from my pocket. I'm not able to go and beg something, become humble in front of someone, beg for their possession, and then give to Sudama. And hence, whatever I'm giving, though it may, in a material perspective, be much, much greater, from a spiritual perspective, Krishna considered that it was so insignificant and he felt embarrassed. That's why he didn't want to tell Sudama. Right? So, like this, when we recollect or when we meditate on the qualities of Krishna, that is called Smaranam. And this Smaranam enhances our Sambandha with Krishna. It evokes our Sambandha or awakens our Sambandha, and it enhances our Sambandha. Because if there's such a wonderful person, then we want to have sambandha with him. Then you're eager. Otherwise, when you don't know qualities of Krishna, even 100 times you hear that Mama Evamsha Jiva Loki, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, we are not very eager for that relationship because it's irrelevant. Correct, no? My parents are providing food for me. They are sending me to college. My wife is taking care of my food at home. My husband is taking care of other duties outside and providing for the family. My children are giving me Vatsalya Ras. What's the role of Krishna? he's, he's irrelevant entity in my life, correct? Na? So then, Mama Evamsha, how much ever you say, it doesn't sink in the heart. But when we understand Krishna's position and Krishna's qualities as such a wonderful friend, so Hridam Sarvabhutanam, then we are very eager to establish that relationship. We will feel restless without having established that relationship. And that's what Arjuna is feeling now. He's feeling restless because Krishna is not in front of him. Correct? So that kind of a fond relationship can be established only when we understand that Krishna is such a wonderful person. And there's a chapter in Krishna book also. Krishna, no, wonderful Krishna. Correct? So like that, we have to be eager to hear about more and more and more about Krishna. And then we can actually remember Krishna fondly. So Arjuna then goes on to say, Tadvai dhanusta तद्वै धनुस्तैषवः सरतो हयास्ते सोऽहं रति निपतयो यत आनमन्ति सर्वं क्षणेन तदभूदसरीशरिक्तं भस्मन्हुतं कुहकराद्धमिवोक्तमूष्याम्. He says that it is the same Gandiva bow that I'm holding. It is the same arrows that I used to destroy and annihilate the Kauravas. It is the same Rath on which I was leading in the battlefield as the same horses. It is the same Arjuna who is the valiant warrior worshipped by so many people, and it is the same. All the Panaphalina are the same. But now I am bereft of the strength and prowess to fight. Why? Because I'm Ishariktam, I'm bereft of Krishna. So in all these verses, Arjuna's point is all my opulences, my strength, all my qualities are simply coming from Krishna alone. Right? So he's not feeling bad that he lost the power. He's feeling bad because he lost Krishna. Often in our life, we feel bad because we lose energy of Krishna. Correct? No? That is called Duryodhan mentality. Because we know how Duryodhana wanted the energy of Krishna, not Krishna. And in our life also we see if there's something that threatens our position, our prowess, our power, etc., we either blame Krishna or we we remove Krishna from our life. We are just focused on getting the energy of Krishna. But when Prahlad was challenged by Hiranyakashipu, that, oh, you rascal boy, how you have become so impudent? Where are you getting your strength from? And then Prahlad says, Na kevalam me bhavatascha rajan. Not only me, you also, my dear king. Savai balam balinam chaparesham. Not only us both, but all the strong people in this world, they derive their strength from this one source. Pare vare me stirajangamaye. And not only all the strong people of this world, whether exalted, whether inferior, whether moving or non-moving, all of us derive strength from one source. Brahmadayo yena vasham pranitaha. So he says that same source has kept everything under his full control, and that is the supreme person of Godhead, Krishna. Like that, when we understand that everything that we have is actually coming from Krishna, then what happens? We are always grateful. And devotee is one, not who becomes a fair weather devotee. When everything is going well, then I remember Krishna. A devotee is one who, through the thick and thin of life, can remember Krishna. Whether night or day, after all the conditions of Hiranyakashipu, like that, all the conditions, one remembers Krishna, and that is a devotee. Because devotee, by definition, means 24/7. It's not once a week, Sunday. I'm a Sunday devotee. I'm a Monday devotee. No, that's karma kanda. Correct? So in that way, we have to be eager to remember Krishna always. And that is possible. Just like Prabhupada told one of his disciples, he asked how to always remember Krishna. Then Prabhupada said, he had his specs on the table. He said, what are they? He said, Prabhupada, these are your specs. And when you see them, Prabhupada said, when you see them, what do you remember? Oh, Prabhupada, when I see them, I know this is the spectacles of my glorious spiritual master. And then Prabhupada asked, then what do you feel? Oh, then when I remember you, Prabhupada, my heart fills with great joy. Like that, he said. And then similarly, Prabhupada explained that when we see everything around us, and when we see the nature, when we see our own lives, whatever possessions, whatever, material possessions, spiritual prowess, whatever we have, everything is simply the energy of Krishna. But when we become too absorbed in energy, forgetting the energetic, it is Duryodhan mentality. When we always are conscious that everything that I have is coming from that Supreme Lord Krishna, that is Arjuna mentality. So if we want to develop that fond relationship, it is possible. It is very much possible, but only if we adopt the mentality of Duryodhan, Arjuna, like that. So in this way, Arjuna is expressing his heartfelt sorrow at the disappearance of Krishna. And Prabhupada goes on to explain that yadyad vibhuti matsatvam Śrīmad urjitameva tattadevavagachatvam mama tejo amsha sambhava. That everything in this world actually, and anything great, anything extraordinary in this world is actually a portion of an insignificant fragment of Krishna's energy. Correct? And if you have to analyze even further, everything ordinary is also part of Krishna's energy. Correct? Because though Krishna says that I am the strength of the strong and the intelligence of the intelligent, but he is also everything else. Because there's only one, that is Krishna. In the sense that everything comes from Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. So, in that way, everything belongs to Krishna. And even for example, digestion fire. Krishna says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Astitaha Prana Apana Samayukta Pacham Annam Chaturvidaha. Correct now? I mean, we take the digestion fire so casually and go on taking prasadam beyond the capacity of the digestion fire. And yet, Krishna so mercifully digests everything. But are we grateful to Krishna? At least, okay, whatever. One thing is Krishna provided so much prasadam. Second is Krishna helped to digest all that prasadam. But how grateful are we? Like that, if you divide 1 24-hour day into the smallest fragments, you will see that without Krishna's sanction, without Krishna's anugraha, nothing was possible. Even to speak, you need Krishna's mercy. Even to hear, you need Krishna's mercy. So if you are not able to hear, you should pray to Krishna, let me hear. If I'm not able to speak, I should be praying to Krishna. Don't remove my voice till 8:30. Right? So like that, every fragment of the day we are dependent on Krishna. And Krishna humbly says only the most prominent things are because of my energy. But actually everything is because of Krishna's energy. That is Krishna's opulence. And when we actually be able to visualize this, then there's no room for envy, there's no room for pride. Because envy arises in the heart of an ignorant soul. Why? Because we are seeing, oh, that person has a quality so great. Why? I should be having. But we are not able to see that quality of the devotee in connection with Krishna, that Krishna has empowered that person. So let me actually glorify it. Correct? So when we disconnect Krishna, then that gives room for sprouting of all the anarthas. But when Krishna is connected, when you connect the switch, Krishna switch, then it gives rise to artha. So if you want actually artha, something meaningful, cultivation of meaningful spiritual life, it is only possible when we connect everything to Krishna. Otherwise, it gives room for anartha. How much ever apparently a devotee we are. If we don't see something in relationship with Krishna, it is only leading to anartha. Okay, so then also Prabhupada explains how Krishna empowers his associates. So whenever Krishna comes, he comes along with an entourage of his various devotees, intimate devotees, paraphernalia, everything. And everyone, I mean, all of his devotees are empowered to different or in different ways just to assist the Lord in his mission. Correct? Now, we all want to be empowered. How many of you want to be empowered by Krishna? Okay, how many of you think that we can be empowered to great extent by Krishna? How many of you think that we are not yet empowered? I mean, be honest, it's not a theoretical thing. Okay, so rest of you think that you're all empowered. So this empowerment, like for example, when we see great devotees like Śrīla Prabhupāda, he did what a miracle that was never imagined or conceived in previous times, to induce the Westerners to dance out of pure devotional ecstasy to the dhun of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not an ordinary task. To make one devotee, Bhakti Siddhanta Sarjapur Thakur said, takes gallons of blood. Correct? How many gallons we have blood? 2 gallons. Almost like 5 to 6 liters we have. Okay. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said we need gallons of blood just to make one devotee. This is, of course, in a spiritual way. Means you have to put so much endeavor to make one devotee. And there's some devotees who are so empowered that they can just transform lives of many in a single go. And you see, like when Prabhupada went to Russia, just preaching to one person, whole country is transformed. We hear it so many times and we take it as ordinary, but it is so miraculous. Correct? How is it possible? Because it is simply empowerment by Krishna. Correct? Okay. So how many of you feel that we are all empowered? We are not yet empowered. Now a few more hands. Okay. So before I explain what is empowerment, so from a talk by His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, he explains what are the important secrets to empowerment. Because we all are in this mission. Unless we are empowered here, we look for empowerment in the material world. Correct? If you're not doing something actively for Krishna here, then we'll be looking to do something active in the material world, become a better professional, etc. like that. That's not wrong, but it should not be at the cost of one's devotional life. So in the life of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, because today is the sannyas, taking of sannyas by Lord Chaitanya. And this pastime, or the pastime of the later life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, right? In Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the early pastime was described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in yes. So in when we see the life of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, we can derive few lessons for empowerment. So he was in this place near Katwa, and there once Miniketan Ramdas he had come, correct? And he was a devotee of Lord Nityanand Prabhu. And he was in such ecstasy, and as he came and was roaring, in Kirtan, he was inducing prema for Lord Nityananda in the hearts of everyone. But there was a priest in that same house where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was staying, and that priest by the name Gunarva Mishra. He was, because at that time many people had faith in Lord Chaitanya, but they thought Nityananda Prabhu is just an ordinary person. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says such harsh things in a spiritual compassion way against those people. He says that better to be an atheist than to have faith in Lord Chaitanya and neglect Lord Nityananda. So there were some people who actually had faith in Lord Chaitanya, but did not care anything about Lord Nityananda. And so this Gunarva Mishra, he kind of did not pay heed to the kirtan and glorification of Nityananda Prabhu by Miniketan Ramdas. And seeing this offensive attitude of Gunarva Mishra, and also the brother of Kaviraj Goswami, that is Shyama Das, he also told, preached to this priest that good, you continue worship, don't care about this Nityananda Prabhu. So hearing this, Miniketan Ramdas was so offended that he broke his flute and just went from there. And when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami learnt of this incident, he was very much affected, and he first went and chastised these two, and then he left the house to beg for forgiveness from Miniketan Ramdas. And then at night he got a vision wherein the Supreme Lord Nityananda, he appeared in his dream, and he told that don't worry, I'm very much pleased with you. And he said, now as my instruction to you is that you go to Vrindavan. And then immediately as he awoke from his sleep, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami left for Vrindavan. So the first secret to empowerment is flexibility. So flexibility of the body indicates physical fitness. Now many devotees are doing yoga after class. So like that. So flexibility of the body indicates physical fitness. Flexibility of the mind indicates spiritual fitness. So when we are flexible, now when such an instruction, from nowhere, go to Vrindavan from Katwa, it's not a pre-planned, there was no booking of anything, no Tatkal also available, even at that time. Just he left for Vrindavan. So this kind of flexibility of mind is what is required for empowerment. So detachment from our plans and having faith in Krishna's plan, because Krishna is the best chess player, correct? He knows the moves, your move 20 steps ahead or 100 steps ahead. Like when you play chess, you're a good player if you know 2-3 moves ahead. Krishna knows so many steps ahead, and hence he sometimes removes your plan and imposes his plan. So if we have faith in Krishna, we accept his plan and move ahead, understanding that he's the best chess player. So that's the first secret, detachment from our plans and faith in Krishna's plans. Second one is association of empowered devotees. So when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami went to temple Radha Govinda Mandir, there Haridas Pandit was there, and he was a very exalted Vaishnava. Vaishnavera gunagrahi nadhe kaya dosh, kaya mana vakya kare Vaishnava santosh. So he was such an exalted devotee that all the time, through his vakya, through his kaya, and through his manas, would always be pleasing the Vaishnavas. That is the symptom of a great devotee. And when he came there, along with Haridas Pandit, few more exalted Vaishnavas were there. And they saw him, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and what they did, they instructed him. They said, you must write about the later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, because that has not been described previously, and it will be a great boon to the entire world. So what we learn from here is that when we surround ourselves by empowered devotees, for example, now Dinesh Prabhu is there. One, his empowerment is he brought up this in such a, even the outside mundaners are astonished. Devotees also, because devotees know in inner matters. But even the outsiders, how is it possible to bring up a building like this in few months only? So empowerment is there, and when you surround yourself with such devotees, I mean, empowered devotees, what happens now? Dinesh Puri is starting program, youth program, correct? So his empowerment, his energy, and his seva also spills on to those around him. So now all many of us are engaged in that preaching. So by ourselves, we would have never thought, we would have never envisioned, we would have never taken the proactive step to do some preaching on our own. Honestly speaking, maybe some of you yes, but most of us no. But when we surround ourselves with such empowered people, what happens? You also become a part of their empowerment. That empowerment, the energy spills on to some of us. I mean, those who are around him. So, in that way, when we surround ourselves by empowered devotees, we also stand a great chance of getting that empowerment and mercy. And then, when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was given this instruction, he thought, my God, he says, Murkani cha kshudramohi vishayalalas Vaishnavagya bale kori te kasahas. He said, actually, I'm a murkha, I'm a nicha, fallen, I'm a fool, I'm a kshudra, right? I'm a lazy fellow, and I have no qualification to write such an exalted scripture on Lord Chaitanya's life. But because it is an instruction of the Vaishnavas, this is giving me courage to go ahead. And he explains that I'm 90 years old. I have hardly forget about seeing. I'm not able to see. I'm not able to hear. And my hands do not have the strength to hold the pen. And you're asking him to write a big scripture. Correct? Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he says that Vaishnavagya balekari ete sahas. So that is my only courage. That is my only prerna. My inspiration is that it is coming from the mouth of a Vaishnava, of a senior Vaishnava. The instruction is coming. And based on the instruction, that is where I get my strength to go ahead. It's not based on my strength that I am doing the seva, based on their strength, their purity, their service. I'm doing this seva. So the third secret to empowerment is the readiness to take up difficulty. So Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, he explains that when the situation is very, very difficult and you know it is beyond your capacity, that particular service or whatever is beyond your capacity, but still you go ahead because you know that I'm not the doer. When you have that kind of a mentality, what happens is you get empowered. So empowerment is not that when you know how to sing very well and then you do kirtan. That's not empowered kirtan. Empowerment is actually when you have no ability, but because there's a Vaishnava agya on top of your head, then you depend on Krishna. Krishna, I have no qualification, but you can empower me. Just like Prabhupada. Boro kripa koile Krishna adha mera prati. So there on Jaladuta, Prabhupada explains his mood. This was not a for publication he put this poem. It is heartfelt prayer which was not meant to be published. You know, so there we understand the heart of Prabhupada. He says that Krishna, you're sending me to the Paschatya Desh, the Western world, and where everyone is submerged in the lower modes of Rajas and Tamas. How will they be able to understand your message? And I'm an old man, I have no ability, and my English is hardly proper. So if you want this message, you can, you want me to be empowered. Sorry, you want me to speak and convince them. It is only if you empower my words with your grace. And only if my words are empowered by your grace will actually enter the hearts of the Westerners and transform their hearts. Correct? So, in this way, in that composition, Prabhupada explains how without understanding that we are simply instruments, we can actually not become empowered. He says that please make me dance like a puppet in your hands. Correct? So this is the third key. That's readiness to take up difficulty. And what kind of difficulty Prabhupada, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami have taken up. Correct? So if you're going to remain in comfort zone, and when I say that, I'm also in the audience. So when we remain in the comfort zone, we're not going to make much progress because you can never depend on Krishna. Dependence on Krishna comes when it is beyond, at least in your mind, beyond your ability. Because if you think I can do it, it is Maya. If you think I cannot do it, it is Maya. Both are Maya. So if you think I can do it, it's doership. Prakriti kriya manani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. I am the doer. I can do it. You're in Maya. You're not doing anything. You cannot do anything. Krishna is the doer. Correct? If you think I cannot do it, there's also Maya. Simply ignorance. Krishna cannot empower you. Correct? No? Actually, we're not doing anything. From the start till the end, we don't do anything. It's only by Krishna's grace to even move a muscle. It's possible. So in that way, if we simply make ourselves humble instrument in the vision and plan of the Supreme Lord and his devotees, then we can become empowered instruments to such an extent that Krishna can dictate his words and will directly in your heart. Tesham satyuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhyogam tam yena mam upayanti te. So in that way, we can all have that exalted opportunity to have a dictation by the Lord only if we can humble ourselves and we are willing to be the instruments of the grace of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. And that's the third point. Fourth key of empowerment is always remain dependent. So you see in Chaitanya Charitamrita at the end of every chapter, what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade, Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Ara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das. Every time he's reminding himself, it's to show that unless and until we remain in a position of humble demeanor and express our dependence on Krishna and Guru, we cannot get empowered. Rather, that empowerment remains transient or temporary and it will be immediately taken away by the Lord. So here we see Arjuna also expressing that Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Yena me Apartam Tejo. The Teja has been taken away. Right? In that way, whatever teja we all may possess, we all have some talents, we all have some skills. At least we can speak English, correct? Or how many of you cannot speak English? We all can speak English. So in that way, we all have some ability, but are we using that ability in Krishna Seva? That is the question. So if we are not using our God-given talents in God's service, then it is only a matter of time where it will be taken away, either by the powerful force of time or by or at the time of death. So before death or after death, sometime it will be taken away. That's all. And what is the benefit you gained from that talent or prowess? Nothing, because it remained on a material platform. Rather, by using that material talent in Krishna Seva, you get eternal benefit. Correct? So whatever talents we may have, like recently we started 108 shlokas. So devotees are so enthusiastic. I was talking about empowerment. So my Kannada is very, very, we call very like grammatically not so sound, not very good. Correct? But then the devotees asked me to start giving Kannada classes. So in that way, whatever little Kannada I knew, which is actually not fit for giving any kind of a discussion or talk on a formal platform, is being used in Krishna Seva. Correct, no? Sometimes what happens, because we are not very good in singing, oh no, Prabhuji, I don't know the fast beat, so I will not play only. I don't know very good singing, so I will not sing only. I don't know this, I don't know much of it, so I will not use the energy at all. So what we do is we oscillate between ignorance and passion. If I have to render service, I should be the best. Otherwise, I will not render service only. That is completely wrong attitude. So whatever energy we have in our body, in our mind, in our consciousness, has to be completely dedicated to Krishna in some way or the other. And that's what we learn. So instead of simply remaining in our comfort zone in the mode of ignorance, what we think is mode of goodness, we should come out and surrender our energy at the feet of Vaishnavas, who will nicely exploit it. Like, for example, if you go and tell Dinesh Prabhu that you have this talent, he'll be completely engaged like that. So in that way, we should become instruments of the superiors. Right? And also we should not think that empowerment is we tend to think everything in terms of material perspective. For example, we think if I'm empowered, I should be able to build a new temple. If I'm empowered, I should be able to travel and make devotees all over the world. If I'm empowered, I should be able to create something very big on the material platform. That alone is not empowerment. That may or may not happen. Jatayu was empowered. Yes, but he died, na? Trying to kill Ravana. Then how is he empowered? Empowered to do what? He failed. From material point of view, he failed. It's simply put, he failed. But he was empowered because he had the courage to go and serve Lord Ram against all odds. To have that courage, to have that faith in Krishna is also great empowerment. To have stability in one's seva is also great empowerment. Like this was a devotee, I don't remember name, someone, one of you might remember, in Vrindavan, who full life he was only giving Charnamrit. Remember his name? No? So even till the fag end of his life, for decades, his only seva was giving Charnamrit. After, for example, someone joins Brahmacharya ashram and he's given this seva of giving only Charnamrit, most likely he'll switch back if if the authorities don't give him some other seva. Correct? Now we have so much passion, not rightly engaged, we will give up. But to be able to give Charnamrit day in and day out for years and decades requires some stability, some ruchi. Correct? Now in life, in spiritual life, like that. So even that is empowerment. To be able to be enthusiastic in devotional life and spread that enthusiasm all around is also empowerment. So empowerment is not only achieving great feats on a material platform, but it also means we should be enthusiastic in devotional life, right? So to the extent we have absorption in Krishna, to the extent anything about Krishna induces some joy, some ecstasy in our heart, that's also empowerment, correct? So what we have to understand is Krishna can easily empower all of us. Actually, Krishna is willing, he's waiting, he's eagerly waiting on his toes. Paramatma, you see, he's standing like this, but actually, his eagerness is waiting on his toes to give you empowerment. But still, we are not being empowered. We don't feel we are getting empowered. Why? Because we want to stay in our comfort zone. And even after we get empowered, many times we lose that empowerment. Why? Now, here, why Arjuna lost that empowerment? Why Arjuna lost his prowess. Prabhupada explains in the purport that it was no longer required to go back home, back to Godhead. That prowess is not required. So Krishna took it away. Correct? So Krishna's endowment of prowess and Krishna's withdrawal of prowess, both are sweet. Correct? Madhuradhipater, Akhilam Madhuram. Everything about Krishna is sweet. So in that way, Krishna's withdrawal of prowess is also sweet. But you see here that Arjuna was, lost a battle. He lost the queens of Krishna to some infidel cowherd boys. Correct? So in that way, it was a humiliation. Why Krishna took away his prowess? So Prabhupada is explaining that because it is not required to go home back to Godhead. So Krishna's only concern is that you become a devotee, a pure devotee, and go back home back to Godhead. If something is helping you in that direction, he'll allow it to be with you. If it is not helping you in that direction, he'll take it away. So many times our posts, our position, OC, PC, whatever, in charges or sevas we have, if that becomes a hurdle out of our false pride in our progress to Krishna, then what happens? Krishna will keep it or remove it? Remove it. Right? In that way, Krishna can remove any of our prowess or opulences at any time. So one thing is we should always be careful. It can be lost anytime. So now I have the opportunity to engage it in Krishna Seva. So let me do it. Correct? How much of it is possible? And nothing you can do, at least you can put consciousness in Krishna and chant the holy name. Right? So at any point of time, we can serve Krishna. So one thing is whatever we have now can be taken away at any time. Hence, use it now. Don't start after few days. Start today. How am I using this Shakti that Krishna has given me in Krishna Seva? That is the mood. And second is, we should not become puffed up. Krishna does not tolerate false pride in the heart of his devotees. Never. Like Indra's pride was crushed. Even though Krishna had given him so much opulence as a controller of rain, but Krishna withdrew that honor and respect and worship by Vrajvasis, a village. Correct? And that crushed Indra's pride. So similarly, Krishna sometimes withdraws opulences, withdraws certain positions and powers from us because that position and power is corrupting our mind. Correct? So if we have to be able to serve, if we want to serve continually, we need certain facilities. And if you want the facilities to remain with you to help you assist the Lord in his seva, assist the Vaishnavas in their seva, then what we should do? Remain humble. By remaining humble, all the empowerment remains with you. We become puffed up, all the empowerment is withdrawn. right? So like many times you'll have this experience. Sometimes, like I said, they gave me this deity wake up seva. So I said, no, Prabhu, can you change it? Then they said, yes, done. So which means what? In few minutes only, yes, done came. Which means what? They're all replaceable. Krishna is not in a dire need. Oh, if this Prabhu does not do, then what will happen? I will not be able to wake up in the morning. No, it is our benefit. It is our benefit that Krishna is concerned about. नैवात्मन प्रभुरयं निजलाभपूर्णो मानं जनाद विदुषा करुणो वृणीते यद्यज्जनो भगवते विदधीतमानं तच्चात्मने प्रतिमुखस्य रामुखश्रीः. So Prahlad is saying that Krishna is not in need of our service. He is not in need of any of our services. What do you think is the greatest service we are doing to Krishna? Bhoga offering. He's not in need of your bhoga. Even if you forget, Krishna doesn't mind, correct? But we lose our connection with Krishna. We start taking the deities to be mundane. We start seeing Krishna in a material perspective. So we have to do it. Is our benefit. It is our opportunity to serve Krishna. So like that. So in that way, whatever energy, whatever opulences, whatever facilities, whatever empowerment we have got, if we are humble, we can have it, maintain it, and we use it to serve Krishna more and more, serve the acharyas, please the acharyas more and more. If we become proud, it will be withdrawn and it's simply unfortunate. Okay, so we'll end here. So to summarize, we see here that Arjuna is saying, Vanchitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina. He is remembering Krishna with great fond remembrance and love. And that Smaranam is very important in the life of a devotee because that Sambandha is what we are wanting. That's the goal of our spiritual practice. You may be doing so many things. If you're not coming to that point of fondly remembering Krishna, then it's not of much value. What is that? Dharma Swanushtita Pungsam Vishwaksena Katasu Yaha Na Utpaded Yadi Ratim Shramayave Kevalam. Whatever you're doing, if it's not leading to Rati towards Krishna, it's a waste. Correct? So in that way, Smaranam is very important and is a goal of our practice. So we should learn to hear more and more and more about Krishna's qualities. Then we will fall in love with Krishna. Then we saw about Krishna's empowerment. And empowerment means we gave the example of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami and Prabhupada. Correct? How greatly they were empowered because of their willingness to become instruments in the hand and grace of the Supreme Lord and Spiritual Master. Like Prabhupada always said that he never said, I did it. Prabhupada said, it's simply the mercy of my Spiritual Master and Krishna. And then we discussed about how anything you see in this world actually belongs to Krishna and hence has to be utilized in the service of Krishna. And finally, we ended with should never be puffed up, because if you are puffed up, then the empowerment will be withdrawn. And when empowerment is withdrawn, you lose your seva. Correct? So, in that way, we should be very conscious of so many gifts that we have received. Like in one video, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu, he was literally crying and explaining how Prabhupada, one old man, who never knew all of us, personally doesn't know all of us, and yet he did so much for us, and we are such ungrateful fools that we cannot do much for Prabhupada despite knowing him and his glories. Correct? We know so much of his sacrifice, but how much are we able to give in? Correct? Contribute to the movement like that. So let us be grateful, let us count our blessings and reciprocate with Krishna's mercy as much as possible. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
You told one point that detachment from our plan and praising Krishna's plan, right?
Yes.
But on practical platform, how to understand it? Because we are not considering that we understand Krishna's plan, right? We try to make our plan and follow it. How to understand it?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Good question. So, what is that verse? Nirdeham Adyam Sulabham Sudurlabham Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadaram. So, the captain of the ship is Guru, not our mind. So when we accept a guru, like our mentors or superiors, they will be able to guide us. So it doesn't mean that we should have faith and you directly have faith. Actually, you'll be tricked by the mind. For example, if you're in mode of ignorance and you have some interview to prepare for, you may not like to study so much. So then what happens? No, I'll do kirtan. As if we are such rasik bhaktas, we'll do always kirtan. Correct, no? So in that way, we can always be cheated. And mind is such a subtle entity that we can never see when the mind is intercepting and trying to trick us. So when you accept a guru as the captain of the ship, then what happens is you get guidance. But that guidance, at least, you should follow properly. In that way, you can understand. So even Bhishma Dev says, "Na aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharmanandanaha." He says basically Vipra dharma achyutashraya. So that you did not deserve to, go through all these troubles, but you survived because you took shelter of Vipra dharma and achyuta. So if we also follow Vipra dharma and achyuta, we're in the safe lane. No need to worry. And of course, that doesn't mean follow Vipra dharma achyuta and be in comfort zone. No, you should do proactively. Okay. So the whole point is that to the degree we are sincere in following instructions, to that degree, sometimes the guru may not be available directly, but Krishna in the heart speaks to you. So Radhesham Prabhu asked this question to Radhanath Maharaj that sometimes you're not always available. Spiritual master is not always available to instruct. Then what to do? Then Maharaj said, when the spiritual master is available, you follow his instructions sincerely. Then when the spiritual master is not available, then Krishna speaks to you as the Paramatma, like that. So there's a check system. There's no space for mind to act. It should always be done under guidance. Then you're on the safe lane. Is it okay, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can we engage our skills and talents in Krishna service in the develop determination? Can we develop
They said determination. I don't think I use the word in today's talk. Yeah, basically, whatever we have, if we don't use properly in Krishna Seva, then it will be lost, and then you lose the opportunity of having got eternal benefit out of that. Okay, and if you don't, if you use it, then whatever time you have it, like Arjuna, he became part of Krishna's plan, and because of that, he became so glorious. Correct. At one point, his prowess also was lost, and it is like very difficult to understand Krishna's achintya mood. Sometimes he removes, sometimes he keeps, so we don't know when Krishna will remove. So better to always use. Okay, it may not be your question, but something to answer. Mataji has a question.
For the better reading of Bhagavad Gita, one thing you mentioned that Karan class, so I did not understand what that word is. Karan was something you said that you were taking for the better reading of Bhagavad Gita.
Kannada. Yeah, 108 shloka. We have that, no? Daily 108 shlokas we are discussing. 15 minutes.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
but I'm just-
Okay, what I was discussing around that point. Kannada is language.
Kannada.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't answer that when we are engaging best level, then we will take up that that's how we when I feel that I'm not best, then I tend to not take it. Sometimes sometimes it may be that we think that if there is some other devotee doing it, who will be able to do it perfectly, I should not take it up. Right. So what do you mean? Like, should we, even though we are not capable, should we try to take it up? Otherwise, we are in a, you told that we are in a mode of passion or ignorance, right? So just can you relate it?
One thing is, we should never be comfortable in comfort zone. Okay, that is like dangerous in spiritual life. If you're having free time, if you're comfortable, you're not feeling the pinch, then it's very dangerous. That means you're not taking shelter of Krishna. You cannot in comfort zone. You cannot take. shelter of Krishna. So you have to be engaged. Sometimes what happens, because we know that we have that talent or skill, but it's not very good. So if it's not very good, what happens? Devotees won't give appreciation. You won't get the applause of the world. So you'll not use it in Krishna Seva. So that mood has to be omitted. Sometimes what happens, you're saying that there's a better devotee with better skills who is doing it. When he's doing it, appreciate him. If he's not available, go and do it. How many times I know devotees who know singing or some musical talent, they don't come forward, though nobody is sitting here and doing kirtan. If someone is better doing it, okay, join the kirtan if you have time. But otherwise, nobody is doing, no, Prabhu, I'm not so good in singing. No, go and sing. At least Prabhupada melody you can sing. Correct. No? So in that way, we should never sit in comfort zone. If someone better is there, appreciate and learn from them. If nobody is there, you can always go and volunteer. Okay, but also we don't keep going doing all the seva. First focus on services that you have, and beyond that, if your superior says that Prabhu, why don't you do this, then we should do, whether or not we know it, don't know it, etc. You can express a concern. It's not a very fanatical dogmatic approach, but you can express a concern. Prabhu, I'm not at all I don't feel confident in this. Then the superior may say, no, but no problem, you start doing, Krishna will help you. Go ahead. Basically, what gives us fear of not doing it? Doership. It's like a negative connotation of doership, that I don't know, so I cannot do. Why? Because Krishna cannot empower me, na? Like that. Or the positive, or not exactly positive, but the plus connotation is I can do, because my ability, I am the doer. So both are rejected. I can do is Maya, I cannot do is also Maya. Like that. Understand? So follow Guru's instructions, and in your free time, volunteer for more seva, and don't be comfortable. Now preaching is going on. Volunteer. Let me take up more boys, or let me help in different ways, more and more, like that. Okay. Very good. Okay. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की, ताए गौर प्रेमानंदे, ग्रंथा श्रीमद्-भागवतम की.
Hare Krishna, let's all express our gratitude to those who are explaining so many wonderful practical principles from the source.
Like,
Then talking about the importance, how important it is to remember Lord Krishna, especially how we can chanting and for different aspects of Lord. So let's all thank Lord by remembering how we chanting.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Prasada is a